guys are a bit busy at the moment. So, how's things on tour?
Yeah, it's been good, man. Been a good time.
Yeah, it's what a great bill, Fear Factory, Static X, and all that perfect fit. But I know you're pulling double duties at the moment. So, how have you been handling all that stuff?
Yeah, dude, it's it was a little daunting at first, but I've fallen into a rhythm now, and it's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah. I know you've probably done that a few times, right? Because you've obviously been in quite a few bands over the years. Have you done that quite a few times over the years?
You mean double duty on a
Yeah,
tour?
yeah.
I did it a long time ago, with one of my side projects that I do with Dino called
Hmm.
Assassino. We were the opening act on the tour, so I had a couple of acts in between, uh, going on with Assassino and then Static. Um, so that was a little easier because I had a longer break in between.
Yeah.
This time I'm just going right after the other. And the only other thing I've done that comes close to that is a couple of years ago I did a festival in Mexico where I did three sets that day, one with Assassino, one with the Cavalera brothers, and then one with Static X.
Yeah.
But they were spaced out throughout the day, so it was a little easier. But I was exhausted by the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you would have been. Well, it's actually really exciting to see you coming back to Australia again with Static X. We obviously saw you the last time you came around, 2019, I think it was. Great run of shows. How did you guys feel about it?
That was great. It's a good time, man. I always love going to Oz. It's always fun out there.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you coming back. What can we expect this time around? Because I guess last time it was all about the Wisconsin Death Trip. This time, is there anything special planned at all? Or
Well, we're technically still celebrating the 20th anniversary of our second record, Machine.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll be focusing a little more on that. Um, but if you want to get a good idea of what to expect, look up some YouTube videos from these last couple of weeks we've been out on the road, and I'll give you a pretty good idea.
Oh, cool. Everyone's been obviously talking about Zero's new mask as well. Looks really cool. I guess that was sort of part of the whole tour thing and all that. Where did the idea for that come from?
Um, it was always the main question was always like, how are we going to represent Wayne in a cool way? And we eventually fell on the Zero character and just making small tweaks here and there, and when we had to delay the tour, it just gave us more time to make more improvements. I use a Zero version 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks really cool. Looking forward to seeing that live in person. So you mentioned Machine Head, Machine, the 20th anniversary. Obviously, that was a couple of years ago now. Obviously, it's a great album, and I kind of feel it's a little bit underrated. What do you sort of remember about that particular album and the sort of things that were going on at that time when it was released back in the day?
Um, well, it was a kind of a moment of a little bit of turmoil because that by the time we were going into the studio, Koichi decided to move on. So we were kind of like, okay, we're gonna find another guitar player. Unfortunately, boy, did we pick wisely for a second guitar player. But yeah, and then you get to go into the studio and do that second record, and they always say, you have your whole life to write the first one, but then your second one, you're on a hard deadline.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, so it's a different experience, but we made the most of it. We had fun, you know, and take the records. So really good songs.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's a great record, and I kind of feel like over the years, it's sort of been maybe less appreciated. You kind of feel that the album kind of got slipped by the side compared to some of the other albums at all, or
Um, I don't know. I mean, it did what it did, and I'm happy with it, and I'm just really happy that you know 20 plus years later, people still like songs off that record, man. So
yeah, it's a great album. Now speaking of albums, you've obviously got a new one coming out later in the year. The second part of the project Regeneration. It's amazing, with all the sort of leftover material that was sort of left behind. How much of that was still sitting around by the time you sort of went into coming with up with ideas for this new album?
yeah, I mean, uh, the majority of that stuff, of the stuff on the record, is all from just tapes and demos that we found just
Mm,
laying around in the storage space.
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think all that stuff was still sitting around. Was there always going to be a plan to do this album, like this the second volume? I guess that's why the first one was called Volume One, I suppose, right?
Well, yeah, because after we found that last batch of demos and Wayne vocal tracks, we were like, this ain't all going to fit on one record.
Yeah. So what can we like? How would you compare this one then to the first album, or is it too early to say at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's the continuation of the work that we started on Volume One. So
Mm.
it's going to be, a lot of Wayne vocals, Wayne's riffs that we all, worked and brought to life in as completed songs.
Yeah, well, that first album was fantastic. I actually thought it was one of the best things that Static X had actually put out. Weirdly enough, how did you feel about it now, looking back on it, and what kind of response did you get from a lot of fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think the album came out great. There were some songs on there that I knew off the bat were going to be good, and then others that just were complete surprises, and we were just like, wow, this is really awesome. The last track on Volume One in particular was was a big surprise. I didn't think we would be able to make much of it, but it really blossomed into something special.
Yeah, cool. So, has there been any sort of cool little surprises like that on this new one?
Yeah, yeah. There's some tracks that were like really rough, and just to the place we got them has been really satisfying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Well, definitely looking forward to hearing that. But in the meantime, you released a cover of Nine Inch Nails' "Terrible Lie." So what was the reason behind that?
That was one of the demos we found. We found a
Oh,
demo of Wayne singing "Terrible Lie." We're like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Let's finish the song.
yeah, right, okay. Oh, cool. That's interesting. Nine Inch Nails obviously must have had a huge influence on Static X in general, right, including yourself.
Yeah, yeah, we were all into that, industrial scene. Ministry and Pawn were huge influences on us, and so of course, Nine Inch Nails, being the biggest band of the genre at the time, they did some awesome stuff. And back in the day when we were talking about doing a covers album, we actually jammed out, had like a hole there in the jam room, but we never did anything with it. So it was surprising to find this track of Wayne just singing, "Terrible Lies." So
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Cool. Have you been playing that one live as well?
Yeah, yeah, we've been playing a little bit of that.
Oh, nice. Okay. So obviously this tour with Fear Factory, it's interesting because, and obviously you're the sort of interconnection between the two, but um how does it feel to actually sort of be back on the stage again with Static X, after obviously with COVID and all this kind of stuff, like, and then obviously kind of, getting back into the sort of, returning of the Static X. How does it feel to sort of be on stage again doing all this stuff? I mean, because it's like it's been an amazing couple of years, and interesting as well. So, how does it feel from your end to sort of be playing these songs again?
Yeah, it's great, man. Overwhelmingly um, joyful to be back out, man. Especially after couple of years I had during the COVID thing. It seemed like one kick in the balls right after the other. So, when we had to cancel, postpone the tour last year, I was as gutted as anybody else, because I really just wanted to get out of the house. So to be able to finally get out and do this, yeah, it's really special.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any words at all for the Australian fans before you come down in Australia in May?
Yeah, like I'm excited that we get to go back so soon, and I really didn't expect to be able to get out there until like at least next year at the earliest. So to get out there again this quickly is really a pleasant surprise for me. And I always love going to Oz, and looking forward to seeing y'all out there.
Oh, well, definitely looking forward to it. I'll be definitely catching you again for a second time. So, man, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it. And I guess we will see you in May.
Yeah, see you soon, man.